Hey, Seven, thanks for doing this. Two questions. How are you feeling, and how eager are you to get back on the court this season after sitting out last year?
I feel great, healthy. Feel like my weight is where it should be. I'm just happy to be back on court, and like you said, I'm so eager. Having to sit out last year, having to watch the season go how it went, just made me more eager to want to get back this year and just get the most from my team.
Colin Taylor?
Just seven, you kind of touched on that. Just I know Frank talked about not really applying for a waiver to kind of get you out of the spotlight for a year to kind of recenter a little bit. Just what do you feel like you learned in that year off to where you can now apply it to this year for you?
For one, I just learned a whole new system. Being a new guy here, just being able to sit back and just learn everything, learn how our coaches coach, learn my new teammates. Just like I said, just being able to sit back and just learn everything, just take my time and I guess just find myself a comfort zone that I can come into this year and just make the most out of it.
John Del Bianco?
You know the makeup of this team, but you know the roster. You've been around it for a year. So what are your impressions of what this team can do, what it can be?
We got a lot of pieces. We're very deep at every position, just about. So I feel like that's our biggest strength is just having guys that can come off the bench. Guys, always having five guys on the court that can make an impact. I feel like that's what I've seen the most and being our biggest, say, strength of the team.
Mitch Brown?
Seventh, it's been a different type of offseason for everyone. For you, I'm curious, did you watch much of the NBA in the bubble? And I mean, that's something that you guys might experience where not many fans, and you play plenty of games in empty gyms, but I'm curious whether you prefer one way or the other, or if it just doesn't matter at this point if you're just ready to hoop.
I mean, being back home, I definitely wish that we can play with fans, but it's a situation that we can't control. I feel like the safety is everybody's the first responsibility, so I don't think we have a choice. It's whatever decision they make, we just got to make the most out of it and go out there and compete. That's the biggest thing with or without fans.
Michael Onana?
Seventh, you mentioned learning a new system here at USC, and just curious, I mean, what are some of the biggest differences between, I guess, this system and where you came from at UNC, and what are some of maybe, the bigger adjustments that you've had to make?
I would say the biggest difference is here we have plays, but all of our plays is pretty much based on space on the person with the ball making a play. Really, it's not really a set in stone thing. It's just you have a lot of decisions when you have the ball. So I feel like that's the biggest thing. The way we play defense here is not too much different. It's definitely more up tempo, but it wasn't too much of a difference. Just being having experience playing at a college level, it wasn't too much of an adjustment to make. Just little small things, just paying attention to the details and stuff like that.
Brad Miller?
Hey, Seventh. How is your game different now than when you first went off to college to play? And what do you see as your strengths coming into this year that you'll bring to the team?
I feel like the biggest difference for me is I'm able to slow down while still playing fast. I'm able to slow my mind down, so I feel like I can think the game so much better. I don't feel like I feel like I always know my people at all on the court. I just feel like I embrace that role as being a better point guard and better thinker of the game.
John Whittle?
Yeah, some of the talk coming out of camp is how well you've played defensively. What do you see as some of your strengths as a defensive player? Do you feel like you're able to do pretty consistently what Frank Martin wants in terms of guarding the ball?
I mean, I think I can be a great defender. Me still putting on strength in the weight room, I feel like that's probably the biggest thing, just being strong, being able to keep the ball in front of you. And I feel like, like I said, I feel like I've always been a great defender, a decent defender. So just continue to build off that. We have a defensive principle here where you got four guys behind you, help you. So you can press up on the ball way, way more. So I feel like I'll be able to show that this year.
Let's go back to Colin Taylor.
Yeah, Seven, two questions for you. I guess just what's this guard group like with so much depth there competing for obviously limited minutes? How's that competition going? And do you feel like the old man in the room, given the fact that some of these freshmen were probably in middle school when your high school mixtape came out?
Like you said, well, like I've mentioned before, we very, very deep at pretty much every position, but the point guard having me, Trey, AJ, Jermaine, TJ. So we're pretty much deep, and we all, even though it's a competition, we're all pulling for each other. We're all trying to make each other better. So just having that group of guys that's all competing, all like we said, we're competing for one spot, but we're all trying to bring the best out of each other. I feel like that's huge for us. And as far as being the old guy, it's kind of weird because I've always been the young guy and finally, I guess, turned over being that older guy, being that veteran. It's kind of weird. A lot of 2000 babies, so it's kind of crazy, actually.
Let's go back to DC.
A couple for you, Seventh. First off, what were your health issues over the summer?
When we got back, I got pretty sick after my first lifting weight room. I came down with a condition called rhabdomyolysis, which is pretty much like extreme breakdown of the muscle and release toxins in your body. So it was a scary moment. We was in the hospital for a couple of days, but we got through it. Got back healthy. Through thanks to God, like I said, we just continued to got through it. Everybody checked on me during that time, and luckily, I'm blessed enough now to be in a position where I don't feel any of that anymore. I feel healthy, feel where I need to be.
And also, are you the starting point guard?
That I don't have the answer to that question. I'm not sure, to be honest with you. Hope so.
Michael and Anna.
You just mentioned going through the rhabdo. I mean, I know that's a serious thing. My dad actually went through that a couple of years ago. Just mentally, what's it been like for you, just being away from the game for a year, dealing with something like that, and then obviously COVID going on? I'm sure you were doubting if there even would be a season at some point this year. I mean, just how have you handled all of that and stayed positive?
I feel like that was probably the toughest thing I've dealt with in my life. Like you said, being in the hospital, it being COVID, not being able to have people really come in there to check on me. So it was tough. It was definitely tough. But my family, my coaches, my close friends, they all kept in close contact with me. They did whatever I needed them to do in that time to make sure I was doing good. And like I said, just being able to talk about it, man, just being able to talk about it now, I'm so blessed to have the conversation and be out that hospital. So.
And you mentioned, just to follow up, you mentioned that you feel like you've been able to slow your mind a little bit more this year out there. Anything in particular, any tricks or anything you do to do that? Or does that just come from experience from, playing in a lot of big games that you've played in over the years?
I would say experience, watching yourself on film. And just like I said, I was able to sit out a whole year and just practice every day and learn every position on the court and just learn where my guys needed to be without having to worry my mind to go perform on game day. So that was big for me too.
John Del Bianco.
Not to say that you wouldn't have been able to overcome that in Chapel Hill, but going back to all the health stuff and it being a pandemic, just how fortunate are you to be at home, to be around your family, not just your basketball family?
Yeah, that was probably the biggest part for me, having my parents right there, 10 minutes away from me. I feel like that made that process that much easier, just to have, like you say, family in your corner, family there to pick up when you call and just to rush to you if you needed it. So I feel like that was huge for me. Having them right there when I needed them, that was huge.
Brad Miller.
I know we don't know how many people are going to let in the building to watch you guys play yet this year, but what's it going to mean for you to be back at home playing college basketball back where you started in high school?
It's a blessing to really be able to come back home, be able to still have that love home, and just be able to put on a South Carolina jersey, man. My senior year, just to be able to play, if we have fans in front of a group of people that's been supporting me through the journey, and just be able to come out here and give them my all. I feel like that's the only thing I'm looking forward to, really.
Let's go back to John Del Bianco.
What are your impressions of Coach Bailey? What has he brought to the program, and what have you learned from him through the first couple months he's been here?
He's very passionate about what he's going through. like I said, he's still learning. But just he's one of the guys that's going to continue to push you. He's going to give you positive feedback. He's going to help you. He's never going to let you hold your head down on any mistakes you make. So just having a coach like that in your corner, can't ask for anything better, really.